Hello and good morning everybody. Welcome to the Gold and Silver Club end of week review presented by myself, Phil Carr and Nick Kalsi at the Gold and Silver Club. Today we will be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities market. We will be analysing the week's performance. The live session will cover, of course, an end-of-week summary for gold, silver and commodity currencies. We shall be looking at the top trades of the week. We'll be covering live market commentary and technical analysis, and we shall also be looking at the week ahead. So key events looking forward, as well as, of course, answering any of your questions that you may have on today's webinar. Okay, so first of all, gold price. So we've seen certainly some interesting moves over the last week or so, and we'll show you the trades we've been taking, and certainly there's been a lot of lucrative opportunities over the last week. So the current price of gold is actually $1,461 an ounce. So we will go straight into some live analysis very shortly with you. Before we do so, just a little bit of background on myself and Nick at the Gold and Silver Club. I'm Phil Carr, professional trader, trainer and speaker. I'm the co-founder and director of the Gold and Silver Club. I specialise in teaching people how to make money from trading the most lucrative financial markets in the world. So gold, silver, oil and forex. I've trained thousands of individuals to become independent traders and successfully manage their own investment portfolio, and I'm responsible for the research and development of the Gold and Silver Club trademark strategies that have a proven track record of generating returns for traders. Also a regular contributor to a number of financial publications and speak at numerous trading seminars, webinars and workshops. Joining me on the call is Nick Kalsi. Nick is a professional trader, investment analyst and speaker. Nick began his career within private wealth management in 2002 before making the transition into proprietary trading. Prior to co-founding the Gold and Silver Club, Nick actually spent over 5 years coaching professional fund managers and traders internationally for some of the world's top-tier hedge funds and investment banks. Through his first-hand relationship with some of the world's most successful traders, Nick discovered the formula, the mindset and the tools that give any individual the definitive edge to trade in any economy. He also regularly writes for a number of global business and financial publications and appears frequently on financial television. Okay, and here's a bit of background just on myself and Nick. This is some recent interviews we've been on television. Actually, this is just with Swiss TV, giving our views on the recent gold and silver moves on Dukascopy TV, and here's some recent global press we've been in. Okay, so with that we will move on. Right, we're just going to check, guys. We're going to go and start looking at the best trades of the week. How is the sound on your end, guys? We're getting a few comments through that some of you aren't able to hear us clearly, so we just want to check that. And good morning, guys, to Ray, Black Cat. Yeah, Black Cat can hear us okay. So Lalit, you don't seem to have your sound okay, so you can hear us. Ray, fantastic. Owen, great. Lalit, I think you just need to change the sound on your computer. Just make an adjustment on your speakers, okay? Everybody else can hear okay. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Peter. Great. So gold price at the moment, $1,462 an ounce. So going on to our top trades of the week using the Gold and Silver Club's signature trading strategies. So we've had some really nice trades over last week. So first of all, we've got the gold, where we've had a really nice shorting opportunity. So this was just from last Friday, actually. So we had a really nice entry point at $1,435 an ounce. This was a previous level of support on the big down move that we had on gold, and we found support at that level, which then became resistance. So it was more, this was certainly a day trade. What you have to remember is gold is very volatile. It's actually more volatile than any of the forex pairs currently. Gold, its average volatility on a day is over 300 pips. So it's fantastic for day trading. It's not really a market where you need to be buying and holding back in as it used to be. You know, these aren't the times of 2010 where you're going to be able to buy a trade at the 1500s and just ride the trade up into 1800s. It's much better to be day trading gold in and out on a daily basis. So here you can see we shorted gold $1,435 an ounce. We just came out at support, $1,440 an ounce just in the evening, 310 pips banked, so a risk of 60 points there for 310 points for a $600 risk and for $3,100 worth of profit. So a really nice 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio shorting gold. The overall, so why are we shorting gold? Well, the overall trend is down on gold, and we are starting to build a little bit of a base, but that base comes with a very clear trend channel. So even now, gold is starting to form a new trend channel, and after a big sell-off, you just want to wait, just allow the price to consolidate a little bit, let it bottom out, because you don't want to get caught with a falling knife. Allow the market to bottom out, and then we start building a base, and then you start having nice day trade opportunities on gold again. Very hard to pick the bottom of a market when it's selling off like that, but once it starts forming a base, very tradable again. Gold's back to its day trading style. So that's gold. Pound dollar, we've actually had a lot of activity yesterday. We took over about 400 pips just since yesterday afternoon. So this was a pound dollar trade. Pound dollar's been moving really nicely over the last week. A very clear level of support around 1.05235. Opportunities to go long and short this market. So that was another opportunity to take a day trade at that level. And we actually came out right at resistance at a Fibonacci level, in fact, at 1.5410, just shy of the Fibonacci level. So it was a risk of 40 pips. So for each lot we traded, $400 risk to make a profit of 175 pips, so $1,750 of profit for a 4-to-1 risk to reward. And that was just on Wednesday on pound dollar. In fact, we'll look at pound dollar very shortly, because pound dollar is also looking interesting again at the moment. USD Canadian dollar. So USD Canadian dollar have been chopping about. We had 4 days of indecision on the USD Canadian dollar. 3 days where we had dojis where the price opened and closed at the same level, but you had like those inverse hammers, so indicating pressure that we might break through that resistance level. So we did. We broke through a Fibonacci level there. Price very quickly came down, so we had a really nice entry point. This was again just a quick day trade, so selling at 1.0254, our exit was 1.0189, so risk there was quite tight. It didn't need to be huge. You know, your average daily volatility on USD Canadian dollar, it's only about 65 pips that it moves. Actually no, it's about 55 pips that USD CAD moves in any given day. So if you can catch a 65 pip move in one day, that's a decent day trade. If you wanted to stay in for a longer term swing trade, you can of course do that, but we do like to bank profits where they're given to us, you know, very quickly like that. So risk was 22 pips, so each lot traded $220 worth of risk for a reward of 65 pips, so a profit of 65 pips. So each lot we traded $650 we made for a 3-to-1 risk to reward on USD Canadian dollar. So Peter, what time frame are the candles there? That's a daily time frame, Peter. So we're just looking at a daily time frame on USD CAD there for that sell short setup. Then we've got silver. This was yesterday actually. So silver consolidating. You can see those lower highs as we start to build a base within silver. We were getting a lot of resistance around 23.71, and then we finally popped above it yesterday. So we had a nice pending orders just ready to go if the price was to break out, and we did break out. We just had quite a short and sharp move just yesterday of 100 pips on that, 101 pips on the trade. So the risk was 30 pips for each lot we traded was $300 risk, and the profit was 101 pips on that. So $1,010 profit on the trade for a 3-to-1 risk to reward. So that was a nice move on silver just yesterday as we finally broke out of resistance. And this was a beautiful trade because we took this last night. Actually, this was on our live trading room that we had this set up on pound Japanese yen. So we were all very interested to see the news that was going to come out of the Bank of Japan yesterday. We happened to get up to a level of resistance yesterday or at 1.53.26, which we previously had a really nice inverse hammer set up there. You'll see some other conditions were all looking good to short this market. So we've already hit over a 2-to-1 this morning. Trade's actually up more than 100 pips now. We're still letting this run. But initially, last night we had a risk of 50 pips. Each lot traded $500 risk. when this screenshot was taken this morning whilst we're still in the trade, we're up 103 pips. It swung between being up 100 odd pips to 150 pips, but we're looking for either a day trade on this to get out a little bit later today, or we're going to get out at a much longer term swing trade. We'll see. So the news that came out of Japan, the yen rose against most of its major peers after the Bank of Japan maintained the pledge to double the monetary base in 2 years without outlining any additional measures to meet its inflation targets. So the decision by Governor Haruhiko Kuroda and his fellow, apologies for the pronunciation there, but his fellow board members follows the April 4 meeting when the Bank of Japan announced unprecedented stimulus. So the yen rose 0.5% to 98.81 per US dollar as for 2:30 p.m. and in Tokyo gaining 0.7% this week. And the Australian and New Zealand dollar rose for a third day against the US dollar on expectations that stimulus by the world's major central banks will push money into the South Pacific nations' higher yielding assets. We'll have a look at that very shortly in terms of the actual charts and what that did, but that was just a really nice day trade setup that we had just last night. So with that, we're going to move across to our live trading charts. So just bear with us. We're going to bring up the screens and we're going to see what opportunities lie ahead for the rest of today and for the week ahead. Okay guys, so very shortly you shall see my screens, and what we'll do is start off and we'll just have a look at silver. Okay, so we're just going to check you can see our screen okay. Chart looks good, fantastic. Okay, great. Okay, so the first market we're going to take a look at is silver. So the move we've had on silver, so we've had a quite an interesting move just yesterday. We see we've got that breakout at that circa 23.88. So the silver market has been consolidating. We have started to put in lower highs. You can see after the big sell-off which occurred back around about the 12th, between the 10th and the 12th of April, and we started to build this base. And just yesterday we did have a breakout from the 23.88 level. Now, what I would expect potentially now. Let's just take a screenshot of this and we can show you exactly what we're looking at. Okay, so what we'll be potentially looking at now is for the market, either it may come back down to this level of resistance here, previous resistance. This may become support, and we could potentially see the next leg higher now on silver. Now, what I would look out for is to the left here, where we actually found support on the previous sell-off and some resistance, which is funny enough where the price just reversed today. This is a setup that we were looking at for shorting, although the shorting opportunity occurred overnight during the Asia Pacific market. So you would have had to be, if you were in the UK, you would have had to be up around 3-4 in the morning to take advantage of that shorting opportunity. So what to expect now? We're going to be looking to see if we're going to get some level, this price supported now, 23.88, and whether previous resistance becomes support, or we'll see whether the price just comes down to the lower end of this trend line, and whether that then acts as a new level of support. But we do seem to be forming some sort of a base on silver currently, so those are the price action moves I would be interested in at the moment on silver. You can see where we took the day trade just yesterday. Okay, so next market we will take a look at is gold. And in fact, gold just yesterday, or it started to, let's just have a look. And in actual fact, we will move on to the 4-hour time frame. And we'll look at the daily as well. Okay, that's looking interesting on the daily. Okay, good. So we're just going to keep this chart in the 4-hour time frame where it's updated to the live prices. So you can see on the 4-hour time frame, and again, what I do, I'll take a screenshot so you can see that nice and clearly. Okay, so what we're looking at with gold. So you can see, again, same situation as silver. We are building a base on gold. We finally bottomed out around $1,322 an ounce. And since then, it's doing a very similar move to how we saw back in February and March, where the market just starts to form channels and just consolidates within those channels. So you can see quite clearly we're getting just moves within a channel now. The channel's forming. You can very simply just draw your trend channels on the recent highs that have been putting in as the market is starting to grind upwards. So you can see there have been sell short opportunities. This is where we sold short just last week. You can see we had a nice inverse hammer setup. We just also we're at a level of resistance, just going back on our chart. This was just going back to see the lows of the 12th of April. The price actually reversed, and then you can see where the price has just come down. It's starting just to move within this channel. So what to expect now? Well, potentially the price is going to weaken. We could see the price just come back down to the lower end of this channel again, which will take you to around about the 1452 level. And I must point out, we've seen a lot of reports and a lot of analysis being done on the gold and silver markets recently, and a lot of it is not really covering day trading, which is where you're going to make a lot of the money at the moment with these markets. A lot of it is covering the longer term outlook for gold. What's it going to do by the end of the year? What's it going to do in the next quarter? Really, as day traders, and be able to make a lot of money from this market, you want to know what it's going to do over during that week. You want to know, is it a day trading market? Where are the major levels to look at? Because gold, as you know, it moves within around about 300 pips a day. It moves more than any other currency. So it's very day tradable. So we are very interested in the major levels at the moment that are closest. 1480 is a level that we actually outlined just yesterday. This is a previous level where the price, going back to 2011, found some resistance, and you'll also see that's a level where we did find some support on the recent sell-off, and you can see just last night that's where the market sold off from as well. And if you'd caught that, again, it was too early to be taking that trade for us in the UK, because it was around 3 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but we got to the 1480 level, and the price has reversed over 200 pips now. So that's been quite, over 150 pips at least. So that's been quite a nice sell short. So what we can expect, maybe so gold could continue to put in this base. So we're at 1452 thereabouts. So what we could see is the price just come back towards the resistance trend channel and keep moving up. So we could get back up to the 1522 level, and then be very interested to see if we get the next big down move, whether we're going to see much lower prices, whether this is just going to be a bear flag, a big bear flag, or whether we can see the price come back to above the 1522 level. But for me, that's the important work that needs to be done on the gold market. Okay, so let's go and have a look at some of the currencies. So GBP, USD. Okay, and just very quickly before we go on to that, I'm just going to look at a note there. So, okay, so just a quick note from one of the traders there, Black Cat. Thanks for that, Black Cat. So 1480 was your target entry at weekly pivot. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect, Black Cat. The 1480 level is a level of previous support that we encountered going back just on the big sell-off in around about 12th of April, and also going back much further on the charts into 2011. So 1480, a good level to be looking at. So nicely done. So that was a very good profit target level for a long position. Okay, so let's look at pound dollar. So pound dollar is looking interesting again. Pound dollar, you can see very clear channel forming on pound dollar. There's been plenty of opportunities to go long this market around 1.5235, so lots of day trade opportunities just in and out for between 60 to 100 pips at a time. We had a nice move to the upside yesterday. Now we're just shy at a key resistance level at 1.5489, and we're putting in a doji at the moment. So you can see the volumes of the normal volume on this market is over 100 pips a day. So far the market has not moved much. It's only moved about 47 pips. So what are we going to see? Very interested to see if we're going to now break down in price, come back to support, or whether we're going to break up in price and try and test that Fibonacci level. Certainly had a big move to the upside yesterday. Does seem to be some profit taking on this market at the moment, and that candle could turn into an inverse hammer, giving a potential sell short setup. So keep an eye on pound dollar today. Australian dollar CAD, the trade that we're in, been in for a few days now, is starting to break down in price. We broke through a key price action level. We're below key moving averages. You can see the candle inverse hammer forming. The market is starting just to sell off there, so we're starting to break through previous levels, previous resistance. If you really take this market up to the key time frame, so you go into the weekly time frame, you'll see that this market is actually at a key level of resistance. Just going back, so you can see there is quite a lot of scope for this market to come down quite significantly. So it's still moving. It hasn't really broken out of that sideways moving trend. So we've been in that over the course of about 18 months now. So Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, if it continues to move down now, starting to break through that level of resistance, could be pretty nice swing trade there. If the price does continue, you can see the, let me just show you that in a bit more detail. Okay, we can very clearly see how this market has been moving over the last 2 years. So you've got very clear, first of all, you've got clear levels of resistance, clear levels of support, and the market has just been moving between these support and resistance levels. Very predictable market. Yeah, for swing trading. So now come up to that level of resistance now. So where's it going to go next? Well, could come back down to this price action level, or could even come all the way back down to major support. So Australian dollar, Canadian dollar looking interesting. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar market, it seems to be wanting to bottom out. It's just not able to get there at the moment. We are at the lower end of this whole this trend channel that we've been in for quite some time. Market has been channeling. We're now at quite a key trend line on this market. So you can see the lower end of the trend line where the market is just bouncing off right now. So it's not really got enough legs behind it to it's just consolidating at the moment to really give it that big push to the upside. But that's certainly one to watch at the moment. So Australian New Zealand dollar is a market that you want to certainly be paying some attention to as well. And we're going to look at GBP JPY. So this was the market that we had that you had a good setup on yesterday. So we came up to this key level of resistance. So you can see here on the chart where you've got we had really nice risk to reward on that. Where you can see we've got a good setup and the price to go short. So we'll be very interested to see if we're going to get further downside, if the market is going to come down lower. As it is, we're up over just under 100 or so pips at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that trade and see where it ends up a little bit later today. But that was really a nice quick trade to have overnight as well with the announcement, the BOJ announcement. Looking at USD Canadian dollar, so USD Canadian dollar has actually, as discussed, this is one of our top trades of the week as well for a day trade. You can see the price where it was consolidating for over 3 days, and then we finally broke through that level of resistance. The price at the moment is being supported by some moving averages, but so we're finding a little bit of support at the current price. So we could see this market then, it's really going to depend on the strength of the US dollar today. We've got some news announcements coming out this afternoon as to whether this market is going to find support at 1.0179 and come back to resistance, or whether it can break down and just get to the next price action level below, which is around 1.01355. Euro USD. Again, Euro USD following a very clear trend channel as well. So you can see the market, it has just broken below some key moving averages just today. It's not looking, the overall on the daily time frame, the candles there are signifying that we may get some downside pressure. But at the same time, you've got a key moving average just at support as well. So just at the bottom end of this trend channel. So for the time being, it seems to be Euro USD is just moving within this actual trend channel. So let's have a look. So the trend channel that we're seeing at the moment, obviously we're just seeing price come up towards the upper end of this channel, come retest down. So it's moving really, you just want to add those channels onto your chart and you can see, so where can the price go next? Well, it's not an ideal time to take a trade either way right now, but if it comes back down, particularly to this level of support here, we could see the market just then reverse again. Likewise, if we do get a rally up to this Fibonacci level as well, we could see more downside. We're just moving within that trend channel at the moment on Euro USD. That's one to watch certainly to see if what happens once we get to these trend lines. Okay, but right now it's neither here nor there. Volumes have really started to dry up a little bit this morning. I expect that we'll start to see more momentum this afternoon with news coming out from the US. Okay, Australian US dollar. Just bear with me, is there going to be the final market that we have a look at? So Australian US dollar, you can see as well consolidating really at the moment. We have bounced off some key levels of support recently with Australian US dollar. We do have the setup we've got on the candles there is fairly bearish, but in terms of where the price is at the moment, you're not looking to get probably it's going to be more of a day trading sort of a trade setup on Australian US dollar because of of where it is on the chart. I prefer it to come down to lower levels before actually taking more positions on this. But Australian US dollar looking a little bit weak this morning. Overall, you can see that we had a nice move to the upside, which got capped by a key moving average, and the price has just reversed again. And actually, you've got you've got a tweezer set up there. You've got two inverse hammers side by side, which would indicate that we might get further weakness on this market. So we'll see if we see further downside and see if we can get down to some key support levels on Australian US dollar. Okay, so very quickly, we're going to come to the major news very shortly as well, which we've got coming out later today. Before I do so, I just would like to see, we've got a few questions coming through. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so Martin, yes, we've covered silver already. We might just have a look at that. We'll see how we're doing on time. Yeah, Black Cat, we agree. Yep, the Australian US dollar, so potentially certainly further downside. We'll just show you that on the screen here, what we're looking at there. Okay, so the key sort of levels that we could see the price come down to if we continue the momentum down is certainly, okay, so it's around the 1.02339 level that we could see some move to the downside here. So we could see that level where we'd be looking to see if we're going to see that price supported as we got just earlier on in the week, or whether we're going to get a further breakdown in price, whether the price is going to come all the way down to test a previous key price action level at 1.01225, which was tested back in February. So very interested to see, and you can see there that we've got you see a tweezer set up there with those two inverse hammer candles. So, and also we found resistance at a key moving average just yesterday where the price could not get above. So that's going to be very interesting. Okay, just see if we've got time just to quickly recap on silver. So silver again, okay, we will cover silver very quickly for you, Martin, and then we will look at the weekly news. Okay, silver at the moment, what we've seen is that we have broken out, so this is one of our top trades of the week as well. We broke out from that level of resistance just yesterday. You can see we're building a base, lower highs at the moment. The price broke out to the upside, so it was a nice 100 pip move on that breakout. You can see we've encountered the resistance, which was the previous supportive level going back to the big sell-off on the 12th of April, around the 24.85 level. The market is selling off a little bit today, so we'll be interested to see if we're going to get a bounce or previous resistance, whether this now becomes support or whether the price breaks down back to this channel and see if it gets supported, or whether we are indeed going to see just a bearish flag formation, which is where the price you'd see it go much lower. So a bearish flag formation is going to look something like this, where the price sells or comes down, and then we've got the next leg down in price for silver. Okay. Okay, fantastic. So with that, guys, we are going to now have a look at key news coming out today. Okay, so the week ahead and key news looking forward. So key news that we're going to be looking forward. First of all, we've got, actually, let's just bear with me and see if we've got, okay. Today's news that we've actually got, which is going to be this afternoon. Okay, so 1:30 p.m. we have there's not too much news actually, but we do have a 1:30 p.m. the US advanced GDP. So that is something that you want to keep note of this afternoon, because that will certainly affect the US dollar, which we could see some movement again in gold and silver and on your other currency pairs. So that's going to be an important news announcement this afternoon. That's the annualized change in the inflation-adjusted value of all goods and services produced by the economy. So keep an eye out for that 1:30 p.m. That's certainly going to be an important news announcement. Moving into next week, the important news that we've got Wednesday, the 1st of May, which is a Chinese PMI, and that provides an early indication each month of economic activities in the Chinese manufacturing sector. So a higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the Chinese yen, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the Chinese yen. And that's also important, of course, because China is a major buyer of gold and silver. These announcements that we have overnight do affect significantly the gold and silver market. So if you're in gold and silver positions that you're holding as swing trades or longer term trades, you need to bear in mind that announcement on Wednesday evening at 2 o'clock in the morning. Very important. Wednesday, we also have at 1:15 p.m. the ADP non-farm employment change. The ADP National Employment Report is a measure of the monthly change in non-farm private employment based on the payroll data for approximately 400,000 US business clients. So this is ahead of the non-farm payroll on Friday. So the release is 2 days ahead of government data. It's a good predictor of the government's non-farm payroll report, and the change as an indicator can be volatile. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the USD, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the USD. And just a message there from Black Cat. Yeah, the USD advanced GDP, so that is on BST that we're looking at. So it's going to be 1:30 p.m. BST, 12:30 p.m. is going to be GMT. So, yeah, just note that all, guys, for this afternoon's announcement. Next Wednesday, 1st of May, 3 p.m., we have the ISM Manufacturing Index. That index gauges rates of business conditions, including employment, production, new orders, prices, supplier deliveries, and inventories. So a level above 50 indicates industry expansion, below indicates contraction. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the USD, a lower than expected reading as bearish for the USD. So really, the important days to be trading next week, certainly going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, non-farm payroll. Monday will probably be the quieter day of the week. So those are going to be the key days to be taking more of an active part in your trading moving into next week. And other key news announcements to look at, we've got the euro interest rates. Okay, so euro interest rates, that's going to be next Thursday, 12:45 p.m. So the 6 members of the ECB Executive Board and the 16 governors of the Euro Central Banks vote on where to set the rate. So traders watch interest rate changes closely, as short-term interest rates are the primary factor in currency valuation. Higher than expected rate is bullish for the euro, a lower than expected rate is bearish for the euro. Next Thursday, 2nd of May at 1:30 p.m. So that's just going to affect mainly the euro and possibly gold and silver. Next Thursday, 2nd of May at 1:30 p.m. We have US trade balance. So that's going to be another market mover. So lots of volatility to expect next week. This measures the difference in value between imported and exported goods and services over the reported period. A positive number indicates that more goods and services were exported than imported. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. So again, important for all the pairs which are crossed through the US dollar and also gold and silver. And next Friday, of course, the big one, 1:30 p.m. is going to be US non-farm payrolls. So that measures the change in the number of people employed during the previous month, excluding the farming industry. So the job creation is the foremost indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for the majority of economic activity. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. So of course, US non-farm payroll, we will be with you in the morning at at 11 o'clock in the morning to look at what the markets are doing before non-farm payroll. But obviously that is a major announcement next week, so that's going to be quite lucrative for all of our trading as well. Okay, great. So with that, if you would like to request any information, certainly on our gold, silver and forex courses and our live trading programs, you can do that and just go to www.thegoldandsilverclub.com/course-form, or you can contact us at office@thegoldandsilverclub.com. You can telephone our UK office and speak to Zena on 0207 193 0403, or our Asia Pacific office, speak to Thomas at 852 8191 0403. Okay, guys, and just a quick one on that. I know some of you have asked how you actually get to that course form. So on the website, you just go at the top, on our website, go to Learn to Trade, and then you'll see a form. So you just fill in that form, and that will be for requesting more information, okay? And then you'll get an information pack. Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. Well, everybody, of course, actually just lastly, do take advantage of our newsletter, of course, to receive free weekly gold, silver and commodity currency news, live market analysis and prices. Okay, so good luck for the rest of the day's trading, and of course next week we will catch you on the next one next Friday, same time at 11 o'clock. If you do have any questions at all, do just get in touch with us on the contact numbers. They're just displayed on the screen, or send us an email. Okay, fantastic. Okay, no problem, guys. Thanks everybody, and good luck for the rest of today, and we will see you on the next one. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye bye.